Hello, everybody, and welcome to JFK's World, the podcast where I, JFK, sit down with entrepreneurs that I know who are doing really cool things in their specific fields. Episode 3. Wow, 3 episodes in, and I can't believe the love and support that I am getting from my community. I am truly humbled, and thank you all for taking the time to listen to not only me, but the guests that I've had so far. And I'm super excited to bring you this week, episode 3. I sit down with a good friend of mine, Jeff White. He is a realtor, a real estate agent in the Niagara region. And we sit down and talk about everything from our professional experiences working together to Jeff's transition to becoming a real estate agent, and also his outlook on leading a healthy lifestyle and family. And it's a really exciting episode. I was thrilled to be able to sit down with him. I hope you enjoy it. Stay tuned after the episode. I'll let you know where you can reach out to find out more about Jeff. And as always, I will have all the information on my website, JFKsWORLD.com. And you can find me on Instagram at JFKsWorld_podcast or the Facebook group JFK's World. Now let's get on to the show. I hope you enjoy it, and we'll see you on the other side. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 003 of JFK's World. I am honored today to have my third guest, Mr. Jeff White. Jeff, I'll let you say hello to the people.
Hi, everybody. How are we doing today?
Oh, Jeff, honestly, this is something that I've looked forward to for a while, ever since I had the idea of putting together a podcast of people that I know that are, in business for themselves. You were someone that, was at the top of my list to get together with, mainly because we share a professional history together. And now you've transitioned into a totally different field, which I think can bring a lot of value to people checking out this podcast that aren't only interested in, what you're doing as a realtor and real estate agent, but also people that are looking to take those steps to get into, business for themselves and venture out on their own. But before we get into all that, I like to share with everyone how we know each other. So I'll let everyone know that Jeff originally started out as the person that hired me to the professional career that I'm in. And I was lucky enough we worked together for, I want to say 7 years, maybe.
Yeah.
And just, that time together, Jeff was, he started out as a boss, but, became an even better mentor, and then an even better, friend and confidant. And when, we parted ways, it was because he had helped me grow in my career, and I was ready to take that next step. So the fact that we've stayed in touch since, it's been a few years since we've worked together, but the fact that I have you here today is again, it's super exciting. So I don't know if you have any memories of how we met or our time together.
Yeah, well, first off, thank you for having me on the show, and that's quite an introduction. Hopefully I can do it some justice. I mean, our beginnings were exactly that, unknown paths, and we did have that fateful interview and that connection. I knew instantly, James, that, your potential and your path was, and I always told you, was up to you. It was limitless, and it was only your limitations that you put on yourself that would hold you back. And you have flourished and gone on to do some absolutely fantastic things, not in your field of business, but with everything outside of that, with this podcast, family, all those great things that go along with it. So again, thank you for having me on the show. And we got to work together, it seems like forever ago, but it really wasn't that long ago. But that's just how life works. It's fast. It's ever changing and evolving. And I think us working together, I never really looked at it as really being your mentor or your boss. It was really an opportunity to learn and grow with you. I learned a ton from you. And I think that's, one of the things that's overlooked as a manager, a boss, or a mentor is it's two ways. It's a give and take thing. So you've taught me a lot along the way, and I'll be forever grateful for that. So
Well, thank
yeah,
you. Thank you very much.
yeah.
All right, but yeah, so this is about my audience and my community getting to know more about you. So before we get into where you are currently, I always like to start way back at the beginning. So let's
Sure.
pretend you're a superhero, an Avenger, an X-Men, whatever it is, and give us your origin story.
Yeah, my origin story. Well, um, I grew up in Port Colborne. So for those of you that don't know where that is, it's on Lake Erie. So I mean, I had sort of that small town upbringing. Lived pretty much my life on the lake, whether it was fish and swimming, outdoors, all that kind of stuff. Normal childhood. Played all the sports, travel soccer, all that kind of atypical stuff. And then moved to Niagara Falls. Went to Port High, started out there, and then transitioned halfway through my high school career. So that was a big change, going from kind of, I don't want to say small town to big town, but landed in Niagara Falls, and kind of wound up really. Really kind of opening my eyes in terms of career paths, I guess. Niagara Falls is a travel and tourism mecca in this area. And the opportunities growing up as a kid in terms of, and we'll keep it business related here on this, because this is what we're after. I fell in love with the whole hospitality, travel, and tourism aspect. And I think I knew at that point in my teenage years, working various restaurants and hotels and stuff. And as I grew into that, I pursued my college degree through Niagara, hospitality, travel, and tourism. Took a 3-year program there. And the plan was, as you can see, to travel the world. And a little bit about me is, I'm an avid traveler, adventurer, surfer. So, it was kind of that natural fit to get involved in that industry, and able to work and sort of explore the world. Now, as we all know, things change, and not everything plans out like that. But I transitioned into, as I kind of met my future wife, transitioned more into the retail. So it's kind of I had an opportunity living in Toronto to run a retail business, and similar in the sense of it's a customer service focus,
Right.
but a little bit more stable hours, and wasn't that hospitality kind of thing. So that's kind of where my background was, really that hospitality, and then into retail, and had a successful run for over 20 years as a retail manager, doing some big box, small stuff. And kind of worked with you, and spent just over 16 years with a company that I enjoyed very much, learned a ton, was able to make a ton of mistakes, I think, and learn from them, and grow as a person. And when I look back on that portion before we get into the whole entrepreneur thing,
Yep.
I really got into later in my career, was really, it wasn't about me anymore. It was, I'd kind of arrived and done my thing, and got to where I wanted in the business. It was about helping others grow and achieve, results and what they wanted. So, the latter half of my career in retail, I really enjoyed that piece of it more than anything.
Yes.
Was watching people grow, develop, and be successful, and do things that they truly wanted to do.
Awesome.
So that's kind of the,
I mean, two
the
things.
little snippet.
I know we want to keep it business, but anytime you want to share any of your old basketball escapades, you can feel free to share any of
Oh,
the stories as well. But then also, your love of travel. I'll share a quick story I experienced firsthand, and it's your love. I mean, I'll let you get into your passion around the ocean and surfing and all that. We can talk about that, but just we were at a conference together, and I kid you not, everyone, Jeff would take me with him to take advantage of any opportunity we had to get out into the sun. Conferences were usually, we're from Canada, right? Cold weather. So I kid you not, there was times where we had an hour lunch break. We would be first in line at the buffet table, grab lunch,
Yeah.
eat in 10 minutes, and then we were by the pool for the next 45 minutes before we had to get back, soaking up as much sun as we could. So yeah.
Yeah. There was a conference, I think it was in Jersey, Atlantic City, and I was like, oh, do I pack my board? Like, can I squeeze it in? And it's like, and you know how tight those meetings were, and it was,
Right.
but yeah, no, you're right. I enjoy any opportunity to, to do what I do and do what I love. So yeah, for sure.
Right.
Crazy.
Cool. Okay. So,
Poolside
yeah,
lunch.
yes, made sure we ate something healthy, and then yeah, spent some time by the
Absolutely.
pool.
For sure.
So, I mean, so for me, like I said, you're my third guest. You're the first person that I've had that had a substantial longer career before what you're doing now. So I guess the next question that I have for you is what, kind of walk me through the process of what you felt you gained from those years of experience in customer service, whether it was hospitality or retail, that kind of led you to getting into, real estate and becoming a realtor.
Well, it's always been and forever will be about the people. And that's, I think, why I had such a long, and, I consider successful career, because I enjoyed what I did. I think I made a good living at it. I was able to support my family, travel the world, do all the things that I love. So, when I look at success, some people look at, bank accounts, cars in their driveway. Some people look at investment, whatever success looks like you. But for me, it was always about, I got to be able to wake up each and every morning and enjoy what I do. And part of that enjoyment was the people and the teams. So, I learned, I think the most important, I don't want to say lesson, or the most important building block that I feel that transcends or translates into an entrepreneur is really surrounding yourself with the right people. You can't be an expert at everything, and knowing what your limitations and strengths are, and then being able to surround yourself with people to help you to be successful is key to success in anything you do, whether it's life, business, et cetera, et cetera. It's, whether it's in relationships, business, schooling, family life, you need to surround yourself with the right people to make you better and in turn successful. So I think through my journeys in more so in retail, it was really about being able to surround yourself with the right people, learn people, their skills, what motivates them, what makes them happy, successful, productive, all those kind of things. It was kind of like, you look back at sort of like, in this experiment and all the things that you tried as you built all these different teams. You're interacting and interfacing different characteristics and different styles, and everybody's different in how you build that chemistry. So I think that's something that's not talked about a lot is entrepreneurs, they talk about the hustle and the grind and and making a name for yourself and doing all these things, but people often don't talk about the people around that successful entrepreneur, business owner, whatever it is that you do. I will tell you, and I'm certainly not an expert, James, but anybody that I've ever known in business or in life that is successful, and everybody has their own definition of that, is surrounded by people that make them better.
Right. Nice. Yeah. I mean, just thinking about the word entrepreneur, everyone automatically assumes singular, right? The one
Mm-hmm.
person. But you're absolutely right. It takes, to be successful, it takes leaning on people and relying on others' talents to, help where your shortcomings are as well. So yeah, I totally agree.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about the moment when you decided when you decided to jump in with both feet, and what led you into getting into real estate.
Yeah, and there wasn't really sort of that light bulb moment where if I had to pinpoint it, last year Thanksgiving weekend, I was really sort of struggling with next. I've been doing retail for so long. It didn't become the challenge that it once was. It was more of felt like it was an autopilot, and I wasn't growing as a person. Helping other people grow, helping other corporations make a lot of money and be successful. But I looked at, I had that long, hard look in the mirror and ask myself, and that's one of the toughest things to do, is be honest with yourself, and uh, know that you're not growing as a person, you're not challenging yourself, you're in your comfort zone, and that's scary for a lot of people. James, is when I had that, it's not, I don't want to say epiphany or that aha moment, but it was really that kind of final thing last Thanksgiving. I was just like, I want to say, what am I truly thankful for? But it's like, I, I'm not moving on. Like I need to understand that I have to do something. I have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable in order to grow. So I've made that decision, and through obviously the support of my wife. I couldn't have done it without her. And that's, talking about surrounding yourself with the right people. She was the biggest advocate of, Jeff, you need to do this, and people can tell people you need to exercise more and lose weight, and you need to like go to school and stuff. But at the end of the day, you're the person. It's your inner self, and that voice that tells you that today is the day. And I had that day, and it was just, and I never looked back. It was just kind of literally, here's my keys, here's my resignation. Thank you very much, retail. I am moving on, right or wrong, success or fail, and I haven't looked back since. So that was kind of that moment. I think it was more of, like you alluded to, sort of a building point. But it came to that one day, and it was Thanksgiving Monday. I said, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm gonna pursue something that I've been chomping at the bit to get after. And I always maybe saw it a little bit later in my life, but what am I waiting for? Today was that day. That day was that day. And like I said, I enrolled to get my real estate license the very next day, and of course had that, oh my God, what did I just do?
Right. Yeah. Sure. That's important.
and it's
Right. Yeah.
yeah, it absolutely scared the living bejesus out of me. And but that's when I knew it was right. I felt, I don't want to say I felt alive, but that feeling of, I have no idea what the future is going to bring. This is a journey that is either going to make or break me. I'm going to learn a lot about myself. I'm going to learn a lot about the people around me, where the support comes from and where the support doesn't come from. And I'm gonna take every day and learn and grow. So that's kind of that sort of synopsis of what kind of happened. But it was something that was building, and it just took a long, hard look that one day to say, this is it. I got to have the courage to do something that is going to make me really uncomfortable. And when you start something new, the unknown, that's where a lot of people, most people, shy away from that. And I looked at it as an experience to let's see what I'm made of. Let's see if I can do this.
Sure.
So, yeah.
No, that's great. So, I guess just in hearing you talk about that, obviously, any field you get into, when you're the new kid on the block, there's there's probably those struggles, and there's those opportunities to look to improve. But I'm wondering, what was the feeling, say, of that first sale, or like to be able to work with clients for the first time and see it through? Was that sort of like validation for your choice, or talk to me about that?
Yeah, like it's one of those things. I think you need to be patient, right? In order to really grow at anything. And I think one of the biggest lack of success from people is they want it to happen too quick. And you know, I fell into that trap. It's like, okay, day one, okay, I'm ready to go. So why is my phone not ringing? You know, but you know, had to keep reminding myself of being patient. And everybody told me, you know, I've got a lot of friends that are agents, brokers, running successful business, and they were like, Jeff, like, I get your passion, your excitement, and you're going to do great in the field, but I mean, you've got some grandiose expectations on yourself, thinking that this is all just gonna just happen like this. So that, I think that was probably the toughest part. But you know, obviously, when I closed my first deal, yeah, there is that. You know, I don't want to say, you know, congratulations or a pat on the back, but it was great going through the process.
Sure.
You know, from going from absolutely nothing, you know, to taking a client through the entire journey, including myself, and then coming out on the other side, because it's not easy. It's not something that you know, people I think realize what that start to finish process is. So yeah, it was a success, you know. But that's just one, right? That's just, I think it's maybe the taste, or it's the, like, I don't want to say validate, but yeah, it's like, hey, I can do it. I've done it, and now this is where the journey really starts getting
Yeah.
interesting.
Like, let's get after the next one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. But it's, you know, it's going to be one of those things where, you know, I'm really excited, not to jump too far ahead, but you know, what's it, you know, what's 5-10 years down the road, look back, and you know, I want to look back and you know, on all these things. I'm like, man, remember when it's like, I didn't even know what this was, and that was so, you know, that, but that's, I think that's part of the journey, and that's part of the excitement of real estate for me is you know, not only do I have a passion for it, because you know, through my travels, and you know, I've built, my wife and I built a custom home, you know, right from scratch, and you know, you going through that and living in Toronto, we bought some condos and townhouses. So I've done it on the sort of the other side of things, but to do it from a business standpoint, it's a totally different game, and I really enjoy getting back to why I do and always did what I did. It's about the people. It's about you know, my clients, and really being there for them, because you're dealing with one of the most stressful things in your life, one of the happiest moments, you know, that first home, or moving your family to a different area, and to your forever home, whatever it is, your home, you know, is a lot of who we are. And especially in these times, we spend a lot of time now at home. A lot of people are working from home. So, you know, our home life, and you know, our house and our property, it's important. It's an important piece to who we are, and our happiness. So yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think having worked with you again, you know, I know your commitment to, you know, succeed, and you're willing to put in the effort to succeed from a business lens. But I also, you know, one of the things that you've inspired a lot of people with is your commitment to physical health, and your journey. And I know that, you know, I mean, you know, you mentioned off the top that, you know, you've played sports, you've been active throughout your life, but I remember, you know, working with you, and you really took a deep dive into running for the first time. So talk about kind of how that healthy lifestyle plays a role in not only your business, but just kind of who you are as a person.
Well, like I said, I've always been into sports, and you know, kind of worked out, play sports all through life. But I really got serious, I think, into really the big picture, the overall aspect of it, when I found out my wife and I were having our first child. So, you know, the thought process was, you know, I need to be a role model for them. You know, I need to live a long, hopefully, and healthy life, so I can be around to, you know, to be there for them, and hopefully even help take care of their grandchildren. So that was that moment where I'm just like, I'm really not 100% happy with, how I'm showing up in terms of physical fitness, nutrition, all those, that balance, right?
Right.
So that's kind of when I was like, okay, so let's get after it. And it was really, I think running was that first tipping point of, let's get in shape, let's lose a few pounds or whatever, and feel healthy. And then it started becoming a bit of an obsession. As I look at things, it's like, not that I want to be the best at it, but I like understanding how things work, and what the running culture is all about. And then it helped that I worked for, the number one sports company in the world. I had access to some great tools in terms of, what to wear and how to perform. And then it really became, for a good over a decade, is really doing a lot of hardcore running, trail running, which then led to, I'm running too much, and I need to take some time off, but I can't because I'm just so into this. So now it's like I'm cycling when I'm supposed to be on my rest days. And then, of course that leads me into swimming, and then I'm making up triathlons, and, I'm beating myself up running like these 30K fun runs on my own. Like, people are like, you're nuts. So, but that's kind of how I guess I tick and I work. And then, my passion for surfing and travel, I mean, that was something I think that, if I look back, and like I said, I was geographically challenged. I'm like, why am I living in the Niagara region?
Right.
This is not the place for me. Although I had some opportunities growing up on the lake, anytime there was a wind swell coming in, I grabbed anything that floated and was out there. But, I think my surfing story, which is a little bit unique because of where I am. If this was, we're on the West Coast, in California, I mean, every Joe out there is paddling up to the break. So the story isn't quite as unique or interesting. It's like, you're into surfing, and it's like, yeah, I've been doing it for, I don't know, almost 27 years. And it's like, what? And you live here? So, I think it allowed me to travel the world. It allowed me to really learn something that I had no idea about. Who is going to teach me? Like, how do I train for this? How do I find out? And all this happened back when, the internet wasn't as viral. It wasn't a YouTube video where it's like, this is how you become a surfer overnight. Like, I'm sure
Right.
you can, now you can, I can go on Google Maps, and I can hit breaks, and I can see how things are breaking like halfway across the world. I didn't have those tools and resources. My wife and I, before kids, we were like, just hopping on planes and just traveling the world, and we didn't even half the time know. It's like, we heard about this like spot, maybe it's awesome, maybe, and we're traveling to 5 different continents. Like, I think it was, last count was like 19 different countries. Our vacations were like adventures, like little mini movies where, like you talked about the origin stories for 10 Year in Action. Like, we always looked at our traveling experiences like, we're the main characters. Let's just get out there and live it. So I think that surfing piece really helped me, through this beginnings in my real estate career. It's like, look, if I taught myself how to surf,
Mm-hmm.
uh, you know, and had that commitment and passion, and people are telling you, you're crazy, you can't do it, it doesn't make sense, it's you don't, I took that approach with real estate. I mean, I had to learn. I'm still learning, and that's really having that courage to jump into something where, I guess, you don't have, not everybody has a mentor to latch on to teach and stuff. A lot of times, I think that's where people get really scared, and they don't want to try new things and say, hey, maybe. I think secretly everybody wants to be an entrepreneur somewhat.
Right.
Everybody has that. Imagine, if I could do this, or if I was this. But it's really tough to break away from what you do in your comfort zone. And I think really surfing, all these years, and going through and doing all those adventures, and stuff that my wife and I, crazy, like, I look back now and think, like, man, the stuff we did was like, it was insane. Like, we talk about it and tell stories, and people are still like, I can't believe, and that's kind of how the urban surfers, our name was kind of born, and as we got into social media, and
Right.
you know, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I really think that, you know, my story was kind of unique from that, you know, that surfing thing. And I took that lens into real estate a little bit and said, you know what, I don't have anybody that's going to hold my hand through this and teach me how to just do this. I got to figure it out on my own and paddle out into it. So, yeah.
Yeah, you know, you rode some waves on some of the, you know, craziest, most popular, most hidden beaches
Yeah.
in the world. And yeah, you're learning. It's you know, I think that's a great analogy that you made. It's from, you know, business to personal, around taking skill sets from something you're passionate about outside of business and applying it to business. So that's a great story. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah. No
So
problem. Oh, go ahead.
no, go, go, go.
No, it was just you know, that's the whole thing about, you know, being authentic. You know, I think it's, you know, as you know, I know you're focused on, you know, you've got some great entrepreneurs and some super successful ones, but you know, just from my perspective is, you know, just being that authentic. It's like, who are you, knowing who you are, and then taking that into your business or your life, no matter what people tell you and how crazy it is, or you know, you can't be doing that because you don't live in that area, or you don't have that education, or you don't have that physicality. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do it. Be authentic to yourself, and take who you are and put that into whatever it is that you do, and you can't go wrong.
Awesome. That's great advice. Thanks for sharing. Um, so let's talk about what's next. So, you know, we're thinking, you alluded to it a little bit earlier, the next 5 years, the 10-year plan, you know, you're on this road. You know, your family life is definitely a big part of who you are as a person. So, yeah, talk about what your visions are for the next few years.
Oh wow, that's, you know, one of the things, it's like you want to have a sort of a plan, a roadmap, on sort of what you want to achieve, you know, different milestones and stuff like that. I really think, James, in all honesty, with this is I'm really keeping it open, and I'm not putting any timelines and labels on this part of my journey at this point in my life, and I'm really going to keep it organic, learn. And I think what happens a lot of times is, yeah, yes, I've got some goals and things I want to accomplish and in the business, but I don't want to be so focused on this is where I have to be and this is what I have to do, that I'm missing out all these great opportunities along the way. And one of the things that when I got into this, I said that I was going to have a ton of fun,
Yep.
which so far I am. That is the number one thing is, you know, if I'm not having fun doing what I'm doing and people aren't having fun with me, then I got to find something else. So, you know, that box is checked. You know, it was nice. I went in the office and picked up a nice check this morning before. So, you know, things are happening that way. But with that aside, you know, I would really love to see myself down the road. My wife has been, like I said, you know, my number one support and fan, and helping me through my social media mishaps, and you know, I've surrounded, you know, with her around me. She handles so much of my business while being, you know, a teacher and a super mom and all those things. I don't
Right.
know how she does it, because she keeps me on track too, and it's just amazing. So I really see us next step is us working together. You know, she's really excited about you know, me embarking on this. So I'm definitely, she's on my short list to hire. And when I say hire, start paying her on my team, because she's working for free. But that's okay, because the brokerage always writes out the checks in her name anyway.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know how that happened, but I'm like, it's funny. I'm like, wait a second. Anyway.
Well, I
Um,
don't want to get too far ahead, but I mean, doesn't she have some pretty awesome interior design skills as well? Like,
oh yeah, I mean, she nor to lie, like, built this house that we're living in. So we're coming up just 8 years. I mean, she found the plans. She's like, where hard hat was on, Every day was we were here. She's inspecting. This is wrong. This is wrong. She's changing stuff. She designed the interior. She helps with staging for me.
Yeah.
Ideas in terms of like she's an amazing photographer. So she handles all that kind of stuff. So she's again surrounding yourself with the right people. She's got skills beyond skills. So so I mean, to get back to what's that plan? I'd like to see I'd like to build this maybe a small team, because as I'm learning the business, enjoying it, I'm sure I'll come to a point where it's like I'll want to, much like I did in retail and hospitality, is help other people like career pathing and all the mistakes that I'm making and learning I can help them through that to make it a smoother journey. I've talked about getting my brokerage license, and certainly end game, I'd love to be retiring somewhere warm,
Yeah.
selling real estate part-time while I'm in between paddle outs and surfing. And, that's kind of it's a very loose roadmap. And, whether that's right or wrong, I really think it's about enjoying life and enjoying the people around you. And enjoying what you do. That's my measure of success. So it's not everybody's, but it's certainly worked for me so far with my blueprint.
Nice. So you mentioned, a lot about having that team around you. What's your theory on, kind of mentorship and looking for, mentors in real estate, in, pursuing being your own boss. So kind of what's kind of your thought around mentorship?
Yeah, here's the I think the reality, and I'll be very transparent and speak frank about it. If you can find a mentor in whatever you're doing, like that's amazing. But one of the things that is happening, or can happen, is that let's for example, if you're my mentor for podcasting, what you got to be careful of is you don't become too much like that person, right? And their secret sauce and their recipe for success works for them, but you also got to find yours. So I think mentorship has some great can really help people, and I think it's great. But be authentic. And a lot of people start chasing, this is who I want to be like, this is my mentor, so I eat what he eats, I sleep how she sleeps, I dress, and you lose your authenticity. And when you lose that, who you are, it's really tough for people to buy into what you're doing.
Right.
And that's one of the things that I guess advice I would give. I'm still figuring it out. I'll be perfectly honest, James. I'm still figuring out my whole journey. So for me to really latch onto a mentor and say, this is who I want to be, I don't have that. Maybe that's not a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing. But the way I look at it it's a great opportunity, because I feel like you can learn a lot, but don't get caught into that trap that this is who I need to be. This is the mold. Think outside the box and be true to who you are, what you're doing, and your process, because part of the process, that journey is, making the mistakes, because they're not mistakes, they're learning opportunities. And it just makes you, I think, a better, well-rounded person when you go through those struggles of like rock bottom. Like you're going to be doing this. And I think that's an important ride on your journey, to understand what that looks and feels like. So
Yeah, I think a
yeah.
lot of people that's great. And again, I think it speaks to your years of experience in being a professional and the ups and downs that come with working with various leaders, managers, owners, and so that's a great point of view to share. I think often, especially with young entrepreneurs, young people looking to get into their careers, they think that the idea of a mentor is going to result in them making less mistakes or being more safe. But as you alluded to earlier, that's where you do the most growth. You got to learn from the mistakes, right?
You need to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yes.
And I think a lot of times people look at, who do I want to be like and what do they do? What's their secret to success? Look at what, everybody else is doing and say, I think there's just as much opportunity or eye-opening moments that say, I don't want to do this. This is not what this particular business, what they're doing. That's definitely not what I want to do. So, there's an opportunity. It's you're not really learning from a mentorship, but you're learning what I don't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also, there's some value in that as well. So you can look at the glass half full or half empty, I guess, when you kind of look at that breadth of whether it's people, businesses, look at what you don't want to do and what you don't want to stand for, and what sort of, what did they miss the boat on? Where's their flaws? Where's their shortcomings? How do they show up on social media, or how do they show up from their customer service, and all those different things. You say, that's not what we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take a different path.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay. So I don't want to keep you too much longer, because I know, you got things to do, places to be.
I got a couple of missed calls here. So yeah.
So, but I definitely want to make sure you've brought so much value today. So where can people find you? Where can they reach out to you?
One of the things, for next year, as we're heading into the holiday season, one of my goals and one of my things that I got to get after is really sort of that landing website. I'll be honest, I'm not at that point where I have that. I've got some social media presence.
Mm-hmm.
I'm making things fun and share it out. I was a very private person, but now that I've gotten to real estate, it's like my life is starting to become an open book, and I have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable and sharing that out. And as you know, James, even when we worked, my social media I didn't even share it within my business. So yeah, one of the things is you can find me at jeffwhite.realestate on Instagram. I feel like Instagram is fun, and I know it's a platform that's been around for a while, but I really like the way it kind of shows up. It's very quick. It's very, you can get a great message across. It's fun. It's an easy to use platform. I think it's a great way to share out stuff. I'm also on Facebook. You can just find me at Jeff White. Sharing out on that, but I'll be building that website platform and trying to be authentic, James. I just haven't got to that point where I don't want to put something out that is not adding value to what I do and my clients. So all that kind of stuff that's next year's project, is as I really deep dive into it, is what I want to stand for, how do I want to show up. But I'm sure you'll throw up some emails and phone numbers and this where they can reach it. But yeah, I would, I'd love to start working with some of your viewers, taking them on the journey through real estate, whether it's investment, whether you're a first time buyer, whether forever home, whether you're looking property in some exotic island. Chances are I've probably surfed it and know a great spot. So we could work on vacation properties as well. I'm up for that. But no, seriously, yeah, that's really, I love the picking up a phone, talking to somebody, meeting somebody, and understand what COVID and what we're happening. That's, I think that's one of the touch points that we're really missing is that, that face-to-face. And that's where I thrive, is the people side. So once we get through that, I think everybody's going to be in a better place. But yeah, I thank you so much for having me on the show. Like, this is absolutely amazing experience, and I'm glad to see you getting all these great entrepreneurs on here and doing all the great things that you're doing. So keep up the great work.
Thank you. Yes, and don't worry, it'll all be down below us, all of your contact info.
Hit the like button.
Yeah, for the people that are watching, and then the people listening can find out. They can just go to Instagram or go to my website, and I'll have all the links there for you as well.
Cool.
Well, Jeff, every time we talk, I feel like I learned something from you, and obviously, that this podcast has been a highlight for me. So I'll let you get going. Any last words you want to say to any aspiring entrepreneurs out there? You've dropped a ton of nuggets, but I'll leave the last word up to you.
Yeah, first and foremost, I'm not an expert into entrepreneurship. I think I've made that clear sometimes, but what I can share through my life experiences and what I've learned through people, working with people and being around people is be authentic, be yourself. And I think success is measured in a lot of different buckets, on a lot of different areas. So find something that you're passionate about. Don't be afraid to take risks. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And at the end of the day, have the courage to go for it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jeff.
Thank you, James.
And that is a wrap on episode 3. See, I told you, Jeff brought a ton of value, a ton of information on, the importance of being authentic, staying true to yourself, and also understanding what motivates you and drives you to be the best professional and person that you can be. If you want to learn more about Jeff, you can find him on Instagram, jeffwhite.realestate. And as always, I will share any contact info that I have for him on my website, jfksworld.com. This has been JFK's World, and thank you for letting me be a part of yours.